by me.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cash About Gaming. I'm Kyle, and this is the part 2 of our previous video titled Top 10 Action Adventure Games. So in this we are going to talk about top 10 action adventure games of all time. But before starting this video, if you haven't the first part of the video, I will recommend you to go watch part 1 and then part 2. You will find that video in the description. Number 10. Shadow of the Colossus. When ranking the best PlayStation 2 games, it'll be difficult to find a list without Shadow of the Colossus. Known as the spiritual sequel to the classic Ico, Shadow of the Colossus follows a young man named Wander on a quest to bring a girl named Mono back to life. Wander must travel throughout the Forbidden Land to slay gigantic creatures to obtain the power to revive Mono. Many look to Shadow of the Colossus as being a monumental game in terms of innovative gameplay, the setting as a whole, and the high emotions accompanied by the story. Since its original launch in 2005, Shadow of the Colossus was remastered on the PlayStation 3 in 2011, and then received the full remake treatment in 2018. Number 9. Red Dead Redemption 2. Immediately following the critical success of Red Dead Redemption, Rockstar Games began work on developing the next in the series. Over 8 years of development later, Red Dead Redemption 2 launched to outstanding praise. The game is among the highest rated on Metacritic, and many pegged it as their game of the year in 2018. Despite having the number 2 in the title, Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually a prequel to the events of its predecessor. It follows the story of Arthur Morgan, a longtime member of the Van der Linde gang. Throughout the game, you eventually encounter John Marston, the protagonist from Red Dead Redemption. The game features an incredible open world with plenty of activities to satisfy your dreams of roaming the Wild West. Number 8. The Last of Us Part 2. Many fans of The Last of Us might have been satisfied with how the game ended, but Naughty Dog was determined to keep the story going. Set 5 years after the events of the first game, The Last of Us Part 2 continued Ellie and Joel's story as the two tried to come to terms with the consequences of Joel's decision at the end of the first game. The Last of Us Part 2 expanded the amazing world of its predecessor, while also bringing the gameplay elements to modern standards. The enhanced combat mecha, polished graphics, and emotional story were enough for The Last of Us Part 2 to win Game of the Year honors in 2020. Number 7. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. From Spyro the Dragon to Sunset Overdrive, Insomniac has been responsible for developing incredible games since the late 90s. Among those games are the Ratchet & Clank series, a buddy cop-type adventure through space with a cool talking Lombax and his trusty robot companion. The latest adventure for the two, Rift Apart, is described as being one of the best early exclusive games for the PlayStation 5. It's known that Ratchet is the only Lombax in the universe, so Clank builds a device called the Dimensionator. This tool rips open a portal to access other dimensions, which will allow Ratchet to potentially find more of his kind. However, Dr. Nefarious steals the device, and a wild adventure ensues with Ratchet and Clank traveling through dimensions to protect all of the realities. Rift Apart also introduces Rivet, another Lombax that Clank encounters who, quite frankly, steals the entire show. Number 6. Marvel's Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Arguably the greatest superhero ever created, Spider-Man has forever been a beacon for hope and an inspiration to do the right thing. The story of Peter Parker obtaining great power, and with it, great responsibility, has lived with many fans for quite some time. Insomniac tackled the web slinger with an amazing adventure that pitted Spider-Man against an assortment of villains, most notably Wilson Fisk, Mr. Negative, and Otto Octavius. Insomniac's first game ended with Peter taking young Miles Morales under his wing and teaching him the ropes on becoming Spider-Man. While many fans expected Miles to get his own full-fledged sequel, Spider-Man Miles Morales acted as a semi-sequel with Miles protecting the city with Peter on vacation. It's an extension of the world previously established in the first game, so you'll be familiar with characters and locations. Both games are excellent for superhero aficionados and action-adventure fans alike. Number 5. The Legend of Zelda: Zelda Breath of the Wild. Considered by some to not only be the greatest game in the Zelda series, but also the greatest game ever created, The Legend of Zelda. Breath of the Wild presents an experience we've never seen before. It's a true open-world Zelda game that gives you the freedom to play however you want. Do you want to try and defeat Ganon right away? Go for it! The game gives you zero restrictions on how you can play Breath of the Wild, though it's certainly in your best interest to not dive headfirst into battle against Ganon. Breath of the Wild received tremendous praise in the games industry, claiming it was a massive achievement and milestone for open-world games. Exploring Hyrule has its benefits, like activating towers to unlock fast travel to various parts of the map, and clearing out shrines that reward Link with spirit orbs to increase his health and stamina. Breath of the Wild is a massive world where you can lose yourself quite easily, which is the definition of being adventurous. Number 4. Horizon Zero Dawn. One of the biggest surprises of 2017 was Guerrilla Games' Horizon Zero Dawn. The original story introduced an instant fan favorite in Aloy, a young hunter trying to survive in an apocalyptic world infested with robotic dinosaurs. Horizon Zero Dawn was the developer's first game since Killzone 3. Overall, Horizon Zero Dawn received positive feedback for its beautiful, open-world, and engrossing story. The success of Horizon Zero Dawn led to an expansion in the same launch year called The Frozen Wilds, and a sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, which launched in early 2022. Number 3. It Takes Two. Not only did It Takes Two take home Game of the Year honors, but it's also one of the best action-adventure games ever. When a young girl wishes for her always arguing parents to once again be friends, the pair find themselves transported to a magical world, their daughter's imagination. Cody and May have to navigate through their home as homemade figures to try and find a way to return to normal. It Takes Two is an eye-opening adventure through the point of view of a child struggling through the early stages of a possible divorce and the rekindling of dying love. The game is meant to be played with a partner, not only through the game's mechanics and features but also by the message it sends. Sometimes, getting through life is too much for one person, and we have to allow ourselves to accept the fact that we need the help of another. Number 2. Ghost of Tsushima. A contender for Game of the Year in 2020, Ghost of Tsushima was an incredible tale of sacrifice. Controlling Jin Sakai, Sucker Punch Productions forced you to truly think about whether or not the ends justified the means in trying to stave off the ensuing Mongol invasion. In battling the Mongols, Sakai is faced with decisions that will ultimately save his people, but damage his legacy and honor in the process. Ghost of Tsushima has stunning set pieces that change throughout your playthrough. Many different sets of armor can be obtained that will alter Sakai's appearance, as well as affect his attributes. Ghost of Tsushima received several accolades, including Game of the Year honors at the Tokyo Game Show. Number 1. God of War 2018. The Slayer of Gods is also the Slayer of Games. Voted to be one of the greatest games of all time, God of War reintroduces us to the forgotten savagery of Kratos. Admittingly, Kratos is a bit more chill this time around, as he and his son, Atreus, traverse through the realms of Norse mythology. But even though Kratos attempts to be a respectable father figure to Atreus, he soon realizes that sometimes violence is the only answer. Compared to the previous installments in the series, Santa Monica swapped out Kratos' signature Blades of Chaos for the Leviathan Axe. The game also featured plenty of RPG elements, such as combat upgrades that would affect varying playstyles. Santa Monica received tremendous praise and awards for God of War, and the sequel, Ragnarok, is set to launch in 2022. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then make sure to like this video and subscribe for future gaming videos.